Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a great week and is getting ready to enjoy the holiday weekend, the last summer weekend of 2023. As you're joining me live, let me know where you're watching the streaming from: YouTube, LinkedIn, or if you are watching us from the Facebook group. Let me know in the comments if the audio is okay, if you're able to see me and hear me okay. I just sent out the information to Kelly Ahn, who's going to be joining us. I'm going to be asking her some really interesting questions about tax preparation and finances for your practices. So I'm just going to chat with you guys while she joins us and follow up and make sure she's not having any connection issues. So I see that we have some people joining us live. Do you want to tell me where you're watching from and confirm if you can hear me and see me okay? Let me know. So yes. Okay. So I see a pink hand waving. Awesome. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So today's topic is finances in your dental practice, how to um, understand how to do certain things as far as tax preparation is concerned. Again, I'm really excited for my guest today, and I am just waiting for her to join us any second. Let me just give this. Oh, there she is. Let's see if she is. Oh, are you going to let me in? No, there is no need to let you in. Just go to your email. And there is a link directly to the live. She is trying to join us, so just bear with us. Love your live. Thank you. Watching you live. Thank you so much, guys. Awesome. So, girl, I'm in the email and I'm in the waiting room. It's been here for 5 minutes. She's been in the waiting room for 5 minutes. Hold on one second. Did I send her the wrong link? This is interesting. So let me resend it to her. Okay. Did I send her the wrong link? I might have done that. So, okay. Interesting. Sorry. Okay. This is the right link. So sorry. Try this one. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for being patient with us. I sent her the wrong link, so that's totally on me. My apologies. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. Try the one. New email. Okay. Okay. So, is she with us now? Oh, no. Okay. Okay. She says she's been waiting on this link for already 5 minutes. So it is totally my fault. I'm so sorry. Not this one. Is she with us? There she is. There you are. This is totally my mistake. I think I sent you the incorrect link. I got into the broadcast and I said, let me send her the link, and I send it to you really fast. My apologies for that. And thank you for all of you who are watching.
No worries. Good afternoon.
I know. So our topic for today is basically doing all the things that have to do with setting up your practice financially for success. I have someone with me that I admire very much. Thank you so much, Kelly Ahn, for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. A little flustered on this Wednesday afternoon, but it's all good.
Thank you ahead of time for taking the time to meet with me today. And my apologies for the oversight of sending you the incorrect link. So,
All
for those of
good.
you who have been patient enough about waiting to hear Kelly Ahn, I want to make a proper introduction to her so that you can understand the value of this conversation and why I picked handed selected her to answer some questions for us. So, Kelly Ahn Rorhs is a dental CPA, and what I really love about her is that she finds, and we share this value together, she finds nothing more exciting than helping people find business success. Okay. She is a member of a ton of different institutions of CPAs. In the New York State Society of TPAs, she is in the National Conference of CPAs practitioners. I'm not going to say all the acronyms for that. And Boost Women's Network Group, with she has over 10 years of experience in public accounting, and Kelly specializes in working with small to medium sized businesses. She is highly respected within the accounting community and is an active professional, active in most of the professional organizations from which she has received numerous awards and mentions of her work in the field, including Top 50 Women in Business on Long Island. She has the 2022 Premier Businesswoman of Long Island, Top 50 Women in Accounting nomination through Ignition, and she has been featured in like the AICPA's Tax Odyssey podcast more than once, Thomson's Reuters Pulse of the Practice podcast, and Tony Wilson's Arc and Accounting podcast. She enjoys basically helping business owners succeed and has shared her knowledge through various publications as well, including the 2023 Accounting Today Voices, May 2022 Bloomberg Tax Spotlight, and the February 2022 issue of CPA Practice Advisors, where she wrote about the important topic of preventing staff burnout. So, and this is something that I also share with you very much. When she is not helping her clients streamline systems and processes and automate and integrate accounting into their businesses, you will find Kelly just basically relaxing with her husband and her running around after her son and daughter and her little dog. So, this is the introduction that I wanted to make of you. Did I miss anything?
Thank you for the long introduction. I appreciate it. You know what I should probably add to my little bio is that I have helped dozens of dental practices, from startups to 13 locations in 3 different states, like ready to sell off to a DSO. So whether you're, just buying a practice or you're starting from scratch or you're looking to expand, like we've gone from associates to DSOs. So it's been a nice ride, and I love to see, everybody succeed, like you said.
So, my topic for today is dental finances demystified and asking you questions. And to your point, I think that we both share the a range of clients within the dental community that are thinking about starting their practices, some of them that are growing and expanding their practices, and others that have already exceeded a number of growth that are considering merging or becoming DSO. And there is a different strategy for each one of those, particular situations that you may be facing. And so I wanted to, and as you guys are joining us, if you are a new dentist thinking about starting a practice and you have a specific question, throw it in the comments, and I will definitely make sure that we take this time to answer these questions. We're going to be on this live for another 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But if you guys have questions, and you want to be able to have a Kelly pick her brain, this is your opportunity, because again, she's been in the business for over 10 years and she knows the dental world like no one I've seen. I have personally worked with her with mutual clients, and I can attest to the results that these clients are getting versus other clients that are working with CPAs that are either not dental specific, or they don't necessarily take the time to have a custom tailored approach where you're gaining the knowledge of this one individual who's been there, done it, rather than just having someone in the accounting firm handling their books and the strategies and so on. So I have a lot of respect for her, and I encourage you to post these questions. I came up with my set of questions to ask you, Kelly Ann. So if you don't mind me getting started with these questions, and again, for all of you who are watching us live, feel free to post your questions or comments in the comment section. So my first question is, because we have again a lot of clients that are thinking about starting their practices, and they're not sure basically because there's a lot of noise and a lot of information out there about the type of entity that they set up, so my question to you is, when is the right time for them to start doing it, and what type of entities should they select, and what is your advice for those startup dentists?
So that's a really good question. And it's really not a one size fits all. It really is situational, and it also depends on what state you're in.
Okay.
When you organize an entity, people think that it's on the federal level, but no, all of the organization is done on the state level. So most states have, an LLC structure or a corporate structure. LLCs tend to be a little bit more flexible because you can start off as a single member LLC, which is disregarded. It's reported on your personal tax return. You can save some money in the beginning of, your venture. If you're just starting off as an associate being paid on 1099, an single member LLC may be the way to go. There are certain tax benefits of a single member LLC. Plus, you don't have to pay for payroll. And you don't have to pay for a separate tax return. So right off the bat, there's a couple $1,000s of savings if you're maybe below $150,000 of profit, not gross collections. Profit means, income less expenses. Then after that, you might start looking at an S corporation. That might make sense if you plan on, being a sole practitioner, running the practice by yourself, then you might be interested in a corporation. But as an owner of a corporation, you're subject to payroll. You have to use a payroll service. Payroll tax returns are required, unemployment insurance, all different types of insurance may be required by your state. It varies. But let's say you're looking to partner up with another dentist. Okay. And, you've got two or more dentists, or you're thinking maybe, in a couple years from now, I want to bring a partner in. Then that LLC does have the, opportunity to bring additional partners on. So there's three different structures.
I'm new at this, so I want to make sure that I get it and I understand it in a way. So I'm going to repeat what I learned, because I know that a lot of my clients are going to have similar questions. So I can start as an LLC. And then once I reach a certain level of profitability within my business, if I am choosing to be a sole practitioner and just have myself as the rendering clinician and my staff, obviously my front desk and my team as a small company, I can then do an S corp, right? An S corporation. And that means that's when you add yourself to payroll as well. So you're paying you become almost an employee of the of your, you get yourself added to payroll, correct? When with the S corp. Mm-hmm. And if you are looking to eventually add associates, then it's either a partnership, if it's an associate with quality to become a partner, if that's something that you want to consider, or then doing the LLC. Is that going back to the LLC?
It provides a little bit more flexibility to have a partnership taxed as an LLC versus an S corp. You can do it as an S corp if you wanted to, but the S corp has certain rules. There has to be less than 100 partners, which isn't a problem. But there has to be equal distributions to both parties.
Okay.
Like the partnership
It's
is so flexible where you can have part ownership, but then only get paid a certain amount. And there's just a lot more flexibility within a partnership. So yes, and the partnership would be an LLC.
What's the timeline? I guess this question is based on the state, but if I am a dentist and I'm thinking about starting my own business, when does it make sense for me to start doing to creating an entity?
Excellent question, because it really, again, varies by state. And right now the processing times in New York State are about 4 months.
Wow. Okay.
So if you are looking in the future, maybe a couple months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, I would probably get something in place. And you don't necessarily need to use an attorney. You can use an attorney to write up a contract or put together an agreement for you, but you don't necessarily need an attorney to form the corporation for you. There are corporate filing companies. Don't use LegalZoom. Don't do it yourself.
But you don't recommend doing LegalZoom?
Don't do LegalZoom. Yeah.
Guilty as charged. I use LegalZoom myself.
It's so much easier to use a corporate filing company. They'll do everything for you, very inexpensive. Like, for example, in New York State, you could do a PLLC, probably will cost you like $1,000, give or take, depending on the area that you're in. A PC might cost you $600 to $800. Like, inexpensive. They do everything for you. Get the tax ID, register, do the publications. We've got this old school requirement when you form an LLC that you need to advertise for a certain number of days in a paper.
I know. I went through that process myself.
They will take care of that for you. So it's like set it and forget it. You have to remember, like the old wives' tale, that you have to pay people to do things.
Yes, to get it done right.
Get it done right the first time.
I agree with you. This is so true. So basically, just to wrap up on that question, it doesn't really, it all depends on where you are in your journey. You could be a dental startup, and depending on where you are, it's the easiest and most beneficial in terms of finances and tax benefits is going to be an LLC. And as you gradually get into a position of having income and so on, then you can change it as you evolve and as your business changes, right?
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. So my next question to you is, and this is another one, because we're demystifying some of this, things that, can I do this myself, or is this something that I can, outsource and whatnot? What should a practice owner expect? Because I think this is a big, like I see this all over, social media and questions and whatnot. What about payroll? Tell us about, the intricacies of setting up payroll. What's the right way? What's the wrong way? And what's the way that, how can they save money while getting it done, properly?
Well, another tip, do not do it yourself. There are so many caveats to payroll. There are quarterly payroll tax returns that are required to be filed for the Fed and for the state. Some states actually have 2 separate filings, one for withholding and one for unemployment insurance. So it is a lot of paperwork. It is a lot of responsibility to make your payroll taxes and remit them, on time to the respective agencies. Some of them, they're due, depending on your size, it might be due a month from now, 3 days from now, quarterly. Like, that can all be figured out by using a payroll service. Maritza, I know you and I both like to use Gusto. I usually point a lot of my clients in that direction. I think it's very easy to use. It starts off at $60 a month. Yes. You cannot pay an individual to run payroll. Do not pay your CPA to do payroll. I mean, they would charge way too much. It's not worth it. at least you'll be able to be in compliance with the filings by using a payroll service.
A payroll
And
service like Gusto,
yeah,
which is a platform that has this service already as part of their subscription, rather than trying to do payroll yourself and then hiring someone outside of your company to do it for you, because all of these things become expensive. And I think that some of the services are very user friendly and so on, and someone can monitor it, like your bookkeeper, yourself, your accountant, as needed, to just make sure things are being done properly. But this is super important. So what are some of the like facets or steps to setting up payroll as a dental startup? When should they do it, and how should the process be?
I would probably do it maybe a week or two before you have employees ready to start payroll. It's really important, once you use the payroll service, then you're going to have to make sure what are your requirements for insurance in that state. If you're here in New York State, you're going to be required to provide workers' comp, disability, paid family leave. You don't have to provide health insurance benefits, but you also need to know what you need to offer your employees in
Please.
terms of benefits. In New York State, sick time accrues immediately. There may be a small waiting period, but we're talking like 30 days or 60 days. Like, you have to make sure you are aware of the rules in your state. Get that insurance ahead of time. Talk to your broker, or you can actually get most of the insurances through the payroll company. You can, certainly have a contact at a company like Gusto, and they'll point you in the right direction. Because if you do not sign up for workers' comp insurance in New York
What is the
State,
liability? Don't tell me. I mean, yes, tell us, but I
you
don't know.
will get a notice immediately. The workers' comp board in New York State is so on top of their game. You will get a penalty of like $2,000 a day per
A
employee.
day.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh
So
my goodness. So
really,
just
really
just
important.
this small little oversight, guys, can really cost you $2,000 per day if you just don't do your due diligence and you don't know what you don't know. My goodness. Okay. So
Yeah.
the other demystifying question that I wanted to pick your brain on behalf of my clients is, and anyone watching out there, and feel free, I'm going to make sure that I leave your contact information and we share it with our audience. But another thing that it's a big question out there, it's bookkeeping. A lot of companies or a lot of dentists think that it is or it isn't important. And so, do you believe in DIY bookkeeping? Yes, no, or why?
Such a tough topic. Okay. I know that there's another huge dental community on Facebook. And I think about a week or two ago, there was a very lengthy conversation about this. And people were really split. People were
Yes,
like, no, I DIY. I drink my coffee in the
and I
morning
do
and
it
I
in the
do
nighttime.
everything. And I'm like, wow, like, I'm dying to know if how that looks. Really, like, listen, some people can do it. Some people are rock stars at everything. Let's be honest. Some people are really good dentists and are not into numbers.
That's true.
And you have to know what your strong points are, your strong attributes, because, like, I'll give you an example that happened to me yesterday. Okay, it's not a dentist, but it was a law firm, and they had a bookkeeper internally, and they let her. She left. They started to do it themselves, and first they were like, Kelly, we need you. Can you do it for me? Here's the fee. No, the fee's too high.
Hmm.
Okay, you know what, Kelly, can you just clean it up a little bit and then we can take over it and you can train us a little bit? I say, okay, here's the fee. No, it's too high. Okay, they do it themselves. They send it over to me. It's time for me to look at the numbers and run a mock tax return to make sure that the owner was paying enough in taxes and taking enough payroll and what the game plan was for the rest of the year. And I'm looking at the profit and loss, and
Uh-oh.
I see a $36,000 reconciliation discrepancy, which basically means that someone went to go click the reconcile button. They were off by 36 grand, and they just said, "Oh, I can just click it. It's allowing me to do it." And then it populates this number, and their income
Uh-oh.
was $36,000 higher than it was
Wow.
supposed to be.
So this is the entry, and to your point, I think that that conversation that was happening, I think I saw it a little bit. I was able to briefly see it. And some people said, like, yes, like I do it while I drink coffee in the morning, in the night times. And kudos to them, but they must have a level of meticulous, organizational skill that allows them to just be able to plug in that. They have an analytical mind, and there are people that have those strengths. For the most part, a dentist who is running and going into a dental practice and treating patients, having to wear every hat in a dental practice, from marketing, greeting patients, delivering the care, managing the team, then to sit at home instead of spending time with the family. Or a lot of our clients have small children like us, and imagine then you having to go there and just look at numbers. That's kind of like not something that I advocate for. And just by having someone, and to your point, because this is also part of the conversation, like, do you delegate it to someone from your team? If anything, can the office manager do it? What's your take on that? Like, who should you trust to do your DIY, bookkeeping?
So first, I just want to say, like, take a hard second to reflect on a few things in your life. Do you pay a landscaper to take care of the lawn? Do you hire a cleaning person to clean the office? Like, let's be realistic about what we can outsource and where our time is well spent. um,
100%.
you know, that's first and foremost. The second part, I have clients, and listen, I customize my engagement to what the client needs. So if you have pristine books and you have a bookkeeper that's capable of doing it, I will take you on as a client for tax planning and tax returns. I have other CPAs who do bookkeeping work for my clients. I have internal bookkeepers, I have external bookkeepers, and then I have clients where we do everything for them. You have to still, make sure that you understand your numbers, because just because you hire an office manager that knows how to keep punch, you still have to know the backbones of accounting and what belongs on the balance sheet and what belongs on the profit and loss and what can be expensed. Half the time I've seen a line on a profit and loss that says personal expenses.
Hmm. Hmm.
We can't deduct personal expenses, so that's not supposed to be there. It's just, it
That
depends.
is it. Yeah. So to keep it safe where it's feasible, I think they should definitely outsource it, especially if you've never done it before. I always say, when you're hiring your first employee, if you've never done it before, chances are you're going to basically hire people like yourself that share the same values and strengths as you, but they're also going to share your same flaws. So whenever we are looking at bookkeeping, if this is something that we don't just have the experience doing, then it's important that you outsource it. If not a company, I mean, like a lot of times I work with husbands and wives, and the husband has a bit, more of a financial background, or I have a very, you know, beautiful relationship with a client, and it's a husband and wife, and the wife is just like on QuickBooks 24/7, just because that's her strength, like, and she
Yeah.
does the bookkeeping. I'm sure they have an accountant, they do all these things, but she just loves managing the numbers. And so that works for them. But for a dentist who has a husband or a wife who also has their full-time job, look at, and to your point, understanding your numbers means that you are creating a budget for your startup costs and your ongoing operational expenses, and mapping that out ahead of time to give yourself room to engage with companies or services that are going to help you save money later on, it's extremely important. So I think that, I guess the takeaway is, as much as is possible, just hire a bookkeeper. Don't do it yourself, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. So the other question that I have is, and this is something that I struggle personally myself, is like, I only think about the accountant like before the month of April. And and again, you get so busy with life and all these things, and so what is the good framework for us small business owners? And this is an advice that I wanted to intake myself. How often, and I said, when I was scheduling this, I said, I want to get you before September, because I know that I reached out to you about a year or two ago, and I was like, what should I be doing? And you gave me advice about, like, yes, you could pay, like, before the end of the year, like that this is the last quarter. So you gave me a little bit of advice and things, when, a few years back. So I remember this. Now, what do you tell dentists out there about a framework of how often they should meet with their accountant, and when they should start planning for their tax returns?
So I think at a minimum, people should be meeting with their accountant twice a year, at
Okay.
least once, maybe 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the year. So you have an understanding of where your tax liability falls. Like, not every year is the same. And some people do have year over year, same old, but like, hopefully you're growing, you're changing positions, you want to contribute more to retirement, you're having big life changes. Like, these things must be communicated most of the time before the year ends, because there's a lot of opportunity for you to do before 12/31.
Yes.
There are some things that you can do post the end of the year for that tax year, but it does limit yourself. And you want to have an idea for cash flow.
Got it.
It's almost September. You got a couple days left of August. And if you haven't made any estimates yet and you're self employed, like 8 months have gone by already, you still
Yes.
have until April 15th to manage that 2023 bill. And let's come up
Okay.
with a plan. Does it make sense to, quarterly estimates are due 4/15, 6/15, 9/15, and 1/15. But
Okay.
all of your tax needs to be paid by 4/15. If you pay it after that, there's penalties and interest. There also might be penalties and interest if you don't pay it throughout the year. So if I'm
Exactly.
meeting with somebody now, and I say, okay, you've got $100,000 tax bill, but we've got 6 months, 8 months to manage this. Let's either break it up by 8. You can make monthly payments, or break it up into 3 payments, or what have you. And we can manage that together. And not only does it prepare you for April 15th, but I think it provides a lot of comfort and ease to know that you're in a good place, and not just be like, oh, shit,
Reactive. Yes. And just, yes. So,
tax
so
day is
meeting at
here.
least a minimum of 2 times a year for tax planning, right? And
Yeah. And as you grow, I would really say quarterly or monthly, is probably advisable at that point.
got it. When do you when does it get tricky for dentists to start diving deeper into understanding tax strategies, and tax saving strategies, and like you said, as you're growing, what's the time frame, or dollar amount of what you consider growth?
I mean, if you're running your own practice, if you're opening up your practice, if you are having kids, if you're looking to buy that house, if you're looking to save for retirement, like, you need to be meeting with your accountant at least twice a year. Like, there
Twice.
are a lot of, when we meet with clients, we're taking into consideration, like, what are your life goals? Do you
Yes.
want to put a down payment on a house in 3 years? Then I'm not going to tell you that you should max out your retirement for the next 3 years unless your cash flow allows for that. So,
Got
like,
it. Okay.
even though you might not think, like, oh, I don't need an accountant yet, like, yeah,
Yes.
there's certain things, and, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of changes constantly to the tax code, and it's
Got it.
not going to
Okay.
stop. The the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that started in 2017 is set to expire in 2025.
Okay.
That means there's going to be an upheaval of whatever's going on right now, and more than likely the tax rate's going to go up.
So can you repeat that one more time, because I want to make sure that everyone is capturing this?
Yes. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that came into effect in 2017 is set to expire in 2025. So that was a lot of the bonus depreciation limitations, the sales, the tax rate, the federal tax rate went from 39.5% to 37%. So these things are ready to sunset in 2025, and more than likely are going to be ticked back up.
Oh no!
So there's a lot of opportunity to plan for in the next couple of years.
Interesting. So this is so important. I'm so happy that I brought you on, because these are the things that we are like on our day-to-day grind and just trying to run our businesses, that we lose sight of. And then having experts like you who are just understanding all these changes can really help us optimize our ability to build a business that it's a vehicle for our growth and our family's growth. So thank you so much for that. Now,
so I actually am gonna have to run. I didn't know how long we were gonna be on today, but I am definitely have a call to, coming on here again and talking about a lot more things, because there's so much to talk about.
Yes. So your information, I just want to tell everyone that I'm going to be sharing it, putting it in the comments. But how do my clients find you, Kelly Ahn?
Go to my website. It's www.𝐆𝐔𝐘rohrscpa.com. So KROHRSCPA.com, or just Google my name. There's a ton of stuff that will come up. You can check out my articles, my LinkedIn, my social media. There's so much free advice out there. Just follow me on social media and you'll see what's up.
Thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions for me today. Looking forward to staying in touch, and everyone, make sure you follow up and you connect with Kelly Ahn. I'll see you next time, Kelly Ahn. Take care. Bye-bye.